Hello YouTube, here are my top 6 tips for getting your pitch perfect, as well as making sure you place in the finals every single time. So if you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that notification button because I'll be talking about all things PhD career related, startups, and also content creation. Those are the things I've been perfecting over the last 10 years, and I want you to consume all of the lovely goodness. Okay, so over the past 3 years, I have won a number of pitching competitions. I have a startup called Verbalize.science, and it's slowly morphed from whatever it was 3 years ago to what it is now. And along the way, I've pitched the business at various stages. But essentially, a pitching competition always comes down to expressing your idea, getting people excited about your business, and it can be anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And the shortest pitch I ever did was 30 seconds. That is pretty hardcore. So I'm going to share with you today the 6 top things that I think make a pitch really great. So I have been placed as a finalist or won about 90% of all of the pitching competitions that I've been in. And I feel like I've sort of come up with a bit of a formula that I follow each time, and it can really help you get the most out of your pitch. So the first thing that I won was the NVI, so the New Venture Institute's pitching competition. So I got second place in that one, but what that gave me was about $60,000 worth of services and coupons that I could use to make my business better, as well as a 2-week trip to the United States to enter the startup ecosystem. I went to Austin, Texas, I went to Silicon Valley, and I went to New York. It was an incredible experience. And if it wasn't for my ability to pitch my business effectively, I would have never have got that opportunity. The second thing I've won, which is I got joint first place at a pitching competition called Hybrid World. The result of that was $40,000 to invest in my business, Verbalize.science, and without that money, I would have not been able to sort of like grow as quickly as I did. I would not be able to test the ideas. The grant money was excellent because it gave me the opportunity to test ideas and had a little bit of a safety net. So that's the second thing that really a great pitch and being able to pitch effectively has allowed me to achieve. And the third thing that I won was pitch at Palace. So I got through to the finals, and I didn't win the overall finals, but I did win the state, the South Australian sort of portion of that competition. And I was able to go to Brisbane to the finals, where I got selected for a 30-second pitch, and loads of great opportunities come from that because I was connected to my customers. I had the direct line to Buckingham Palace to ask for help if I needed connections to CEOs, businessmen, other sort of like entrepreneurs to grow my business. So that was an incredible opportunity. So all of those opportunities came to me because I was able to pitch my business effectively. And I want to share with you now exactly how I did that. Okay then, so the first thing that I think you should realize about a pitching competition is that it is 100% about emotion. Okay, this process of pitching really sort of relies on you being able to influence a room full of people into believing your story and following you through what you believe is an awesome opportunity. And so what you've got to do is lead the pitch with emotion. So when you're writing your pitch, when you're formulating it, you have to think about what emotions do I want to bring out in my audience. So it's a typical sales thing, right? People are sold on emotion, and then they justify their purchase, their willingness to buy your thing with facts. So with a pitch, you have to make sure you hit the emotional button as hard as you can. Now, what I mean by that is I don't mean, come up with a sob story unless it necessarily fits with what you want to sell. For me and my business, I always wanted people to feel empowered, like that Verbalize.science would empower them to understand science and empower their business to use science effectively. I even, in the early days, was thinking about using it as an educational purpose. So saying that it was going to be a tool that scientists could use to attract the next generation of scientists, get them interested in science. That was a great thing. And that feeling of empowerment and making the world a better place is the feeling that I wanted my audience to get from my pitch. So what I do first when I'm coming up with a pitch is I sit down and I think, right, what emotional journey do I want people to go through? They have to start high and they have to end high, and then you give them the details in the middle. That is the process, and ultimately the last emotion that you want people to feel is that you are amazing and that you can do this. And let's talk about those next steps now. So the second tip is the order in which you work on the pitch. Now, this awesome friend of mine who works a lot in the arts, he was saying he follows the 2-3-1 principle, which one is your best sort of emotion and your biggest sort of like big finisher, right? Because you've got to remember, people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. So you've got to end incredibly strong. And so that's why you end with one, your best emotive statement, movement, big finish. And so that's why when I write a pitch, I sit down with my partner and we start with the end in mind. We always start with the big emotive finish, and then we work out how to get there from there. The second thing we work on is the beginning. The beginning of your pitch is going to set the scene. So what I like to do is tell a bit of a story. What I like to do is introduce myself and the business, and then I sort of start leading people down the journey that I want them to take. So once again, it's got to be about a transformation. So the thing that I always talk about at the beginning is the kind of mission of Verbalize, and then I lead them into the story about how when I was a PhD student, I was in the lab, like working late one night, and nothing was working. It was 2.5 years into my PhD. I was so frustrated, so upset. And then something amazing happened. My experiments worked, and I went out and I high-fived my supervisor. I came home. I bought a bottle of wine home to my partner, and she was excited for me. And then I told the world with a boring research paper. And that story kind of leads people down the first thing so that they can see that my platform gives people the ability to be excited about science. And so that beginning story captures people and also gives them the ability to see why I'm so important. And that's where we go second. And the third place we go is the middle. Now, the middle is where I cram all of the facts: market size, the team, the amount of money I expect to make, all of those data bits I put in the middle somewhere. Ultimately, what you need people to think when they see that is, okay, this is a big market, this is a great opportunity, and then you lead them to the final big emotive finish. And that's the journey, and that's how I write a great, really strong pitch. The third tip is, I realized from quite early on that a load of really awesome tips that I remembered had a moment in them, like a single, relatable, interesting moment that people always referred to. I first saw this in my first ever pitch where someone took a load of papers and they threw them up in the air, and it was this dramatic cascade of papers. And people then, when I spoke to them about my pitching competition, they said, oh, that was the one with the guy who threw the papers. And that made me realize, okay, everyone needs a big dramatic kind of moment in their pitch that people remember. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I stole the throwing of the papers because it was just so effective. In one of the pitches, I actually thought I wanted to set some flash paper, some magician's flash paper alight. But unfortunately, because of fire regulations, I couldn't do that. But what I do is I really think about that moment that people go, oh, that was the guy that did this. And throwing the papers really, really worked. And that's because people don't remember necessarily what you say, but how you make them feel. And so that is a really important part, is have a moment where you do something outrageous. It may be jump, it may be, I don't know, throw something. That is exactly what I do to make people go, ah, you were the guy that did this. You could even steal the throwing papers thing because it's really effective. It's really inexpensive to do, but it works. Okay, the fourth tip, that's 3. Okay, the fourth tip that I want to talk about is the fact that you have to remember that this is a performance. Okay, when people go to pitching competitions, they may be seeing sort of 4 to 10 to 12. I've had a whole day pitching competition once, and that was 22 people pitching their businesses. So you got to remember that the audience are going to be incredibly bored if the same pitch formats follow time and time again. So really investing in performance skills and getting comfortable up on stage, being dramatic, being larger than life will really make you stand out. People do like to include all of the stuff about the business, the numbers, the market. I get it. I completely understand why that's in there, because you're pitching a business, right? But you have to remember that this is a performance, that you have to get up and be memorable. You have to be confident. You have to be loud. And so if you're not that person, I suggest you get some pitching coaching, or do Toastmasters, or go to an improv kind of drama class or something like that, just to get comfortable with yourself on stage, because it's always incredibly nerve-wracking getting up on stage. I remember the first time I did it, oh my God, it was so scary. It was just like doing stand-up. I've done stand-up a little bit in the past. I sucked, but it was so nerve-wracking. But I really feel like if you get comfortable on stage, you get comfortable with the fact that pitching your business is a performance, just with numbers and a slide deck. So invest in your performance skills. The fifth tip that I recommend for people is to make sure that you put your market value, market size, and put big ass numbers in there that make people go, you know what, this person is onto something. They're onto a massive opportunity. There's billions of dollars, there's millions of dollars at risk if I don't back this person. So making sure that somewhere in the middle of your pitch, there is a market size with a big valuation. That just gives people the facts to support the emotional journey that you're taking them on. And without those facts in the middle, people can feel like you are just telling them a story. Maybe they feel a little bit manipulated, but if you just give them the facts to back up the way you're making them feel, that's a powerful combination that'll really sort of move people to be like, yeah, this person should win. And the sixth tip, yes, that's that many. And the sixth tip is all about making sure that you acknowledge your team somewhere in the middle just before you do your big finish. A startup team is what essentially investors have to go on. So show that you've got a diverse team, show that you can deliver on what you're promising with the number of people and the number of skills that they bring to your business. That has to be made crystal clear alongside the market size and segment and valuation. So those are the sort of really important parts for investors and also the audience to take you seriously. Is here is the market, here's the opportunity, and here is the team that's going to deliver it. And we've got all of these skills, and it's amazing. Include mentors. Mentors are really undervalued, and all of that just comes together to make a bloody awesome pitch. I guarantee that if you put all this together, that you will really get an opportunity to stand out, because not a lot of people sort of like put this amount of effort into pitching. Remember, it's a performance. Remember, it's an emotional journey. Start strong, but finish even stronger. Show people the facts, show the team, and be confident, and remember that it's a performance. You want people to feel entertained, have that moment where you throw something up in the air or you do something outrageous. That's how you're going to be memorable, and that's what people will remember when they think about your pitch. And then they'll be intrigued to get more information as they delve deeper into your business models and the market size and the team and all that stuff. All right, YouTube, so there's my 6 top tips for pitching your business. Let me know in the comments what you think. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be sharing much more value as we go on throughout the next year. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.